2K, 2K.
This is a perfectly good controller. This is that same perfectly good controller, only after you've experienced the fuckery brought upon by these superhumans we're reviewing today. The superhumans that were constantly being spammed online, most of which were nowhere near as good in real life as they were in these games. This is a list of 10 NBA 2K players that were OP throughout the 2010s. However, they're only listed in 8 bullet points because a couple of these deserve each other. NBA 2K13 Andre Iguodala. Fair warning, a good number of the androids on this list are coming from NBA 2K13, not because it was intended, but just because of the way that game played. It was pretty much a hotbed for BS. Really all you needed was a decently sized slashing player that had any kind of shot, and well, he was basically the Meruem of basketball. So it should come as no surprise that Iggy was a fan favorite to abuse that year, especially because the Nuggets had a pretty good roster at the time, only a couple of years after the Carmelo Anthony trade. In real life, they were just a good collection of players that didn't have the superstar they really needed. In 2K13, however, they had a nuclear warhead in Iggy. He could knock down shots, defend, and put any number of helpless victims near the rim in their coffins. Simply put, 2K13 Iggy was what we hoped he'd become in real life when he was in Philadelphia. But around this time, I'd be willing to bet that his PlayStation 3 handle was Baby Braun. I could only speak from a victim standpoint on Iggy because I was not a Nuggets user in 2013. However, in what was the very next year on the next-gen hardware, I could give you a first-hand account of the terror that was Gerald Green. Green was my role player in the series I used to run called The Three Kings of New York. Massive air quotes on role player. If I can remember it correctly, he actually sent me to the finals once LeBron James fouled out. Anyways, much like Iggy, the game just could not realistically handle his shooting ability combined with his hops. Gerald Green is easily one of the highest flyers the game has ever seen, so when you combine that with a decent shot and 2K14's animations, you were left with Michael Jordan without amazing handles. 3 and D for Gerald Green stood for 3 and dunk, and I enjoyed every last bit of it. Oh man, I am having nightmares about Saturday afternoons playing NBA 2K12 online. The soundtrack is fire, I pick up my boy D-Rose and the Bulls, then bam, I've run into the Thunder for the 4th straight time today. Shit like that is why Play Now Online tiers came into existence in the first place, but that's a different video. Westbrook and KD that year were like nothing you'd ever seen, and this was before they'd actually went to the finals. Kevin Durant made every single shot. Contested, uncontested, mid-range, didn't matter. And I guess that's kind of realistic since he's really ever had a contestant on defense in real life, but the fact that people were able to spam bad shots and not even work in any kind of offense with him was devastating. It was just one of those situations where the game had a very hard time separating an amazing player from a cheat code. And that was before you had to deal with the hydrogen bomb that was Russell Westbrook. When you weren't dealing with one, you dealt with the other, but it was even worse because they played at a different speed than everybody else in the game. And that duo became particularly irritating when you were using a team like the Bulls and you could only consistently counter with one guy. There has to be a stat out there somewhere that proves this was the most used team in NBA 2K12. Westbrook and KD were good back then in real life, but it really felt more like they knew the future. Be right back. I'm not done crying about playing against the Knicks in NBA 2K13. Much like how this was their best team of the Melo era in real life, this is the best Knicks team of any 2K during the 2010s, or probably ever really. Sure, Melo was a problem, but then J.R. Smith was the secondary firearm. It was really more like the perk that allows you to carry 2 primary weapons though. J.R. Smith was a much worse 2K14 Gerald Green. At least Green couldn't really handle the ball that well, so you had to work something out to unlock his abilities. Smith on the other hand could legitimately work you on his own. No screens, no plays, just these hands. He had unlimited range if you wanted to play off of him, and if you tried anything to close that space, it was just giving him a lane to 360 on somebody. Now again, this was the season that Smith was 6th man of the year and likely the best year of his career. Was it accurate for him to be really good? Yeah, probably. But according to his 2K representation, he and Melo should have gone toe-to-toe with LeBron and Wade. When they announced that you'd be able to block dunks in 2K14, the first thought on many people's minds were, thank God, no more J.R. Smith. Well, it doesn't seem like that many people are bothering to play 2K at all these days, and if they were, the only Giannis they're probably seeing is some high gym level in my team because, let's be real, nobody's playing Play Now. However, this is barely even a year ago, and my memories of 2K19 Giannis are still extremely vivid. As a matter of fact, The announcement that Giannis would be OP was vivid. It wasn't a direct announcement, just a tweet from Mike Wang that informed us that we'd be able to chain Euro steps and spins with dunks. That might as well have been called the Giannis edition because he likely created the consistent need for it, and players wasted no time ruining your entire life and experience with him. Hell, it happened to me in my first time playing him. Look, Giannis is OP in real life, so yes, he's OP in the game as well, especially because he's a power forward that represented terrible matchups for historic teams and players. Most of those teams didn't even have anyone or any big guys with the foot speed to stay in front of him, so simply put, 2K19 Giannis did whatever the fuck he wanted on both sides of the basketball in 2K19. Dunking from wherever, blocking from wherever. Your only hope with a Bucks user was that you were matched with somebody who didn't actually know how to play. Otherwise, game over. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I hope this video becomes immortalized because we need not ever forget the travesty that was NBA 2K19 Hedo Turkoglu in my team. As a matter of fact, that was my last video of 2018. Hedo Turkoglu and that goddamn base 11 jumper. You know, technically any player with his jumper was OP, like I remember Danny Granger had it, but it mostly manifested itself with Hedo because of his dribbling animations. It's hard to describe, but he had this really crisp, free-flowing dribble that made him nearly impossible to check without distorting your defense. You knew that at any time he was liable to pull up, so if you didn't want that work, you basically had to leave somebody else open or put the D in really bad position. I remember he was so broken that one time he pulled up for a jumper without the basketball in his hands, and then the ball teleported to his hands, and I believe he knocked down that jumper. Hedo was good in real life. Hell, I even saw him destroy some poor dude in an open gym in college, but he was not this damn good. He was a superstar in 2K19, a legitimate LA Fitness superstar, and a perfect one for the way the game is played today at that. 2K14 was James Harden before 2018 James Harden. Seriously, you could not fuck with this guy in any type of ISO situation. And that's not overlooking how good he's been since he stepped foot in Houston. He's been a bucket, but there is a pretty distinct difference between him then and him over the last couple of years. Anyways, me and my cousin used to play blacktop non-stop. Harden was always his guy, and I have never-ending memories of him pulling up right in the defender's face, whether out of the triple threat or off the dribble. That was back then when he was still proving that he was a legitimate star. And once again, 2K just knew the future when it came to former Thunder players. So I had my victim accounts of this, but when I sent out the Batman signal for this video on Twitter, I got a lot of responses including him, so clearly it wasn't just me. It may not be championship basketball, but especially in 2K14, it was a cheat code. LeBron and Kobe NBA 2K13, take your fucking pick. Look, LeBron probably had the best year of his career in 13, and maybe you could even argue the same for Kobe. It's a discussion either way, but these dudes were overpowered in the game to the point that their teams were the only legitimate matchups for each other if they were being used by somebody who knew how to play. They were enabled by the unstoppable dunking attributes of the game, but that was just on top of everything else they were able to do. It was so bad that at the team selection screen, if you were using the Heat, I was using the Lakers. It was just that simple. They were the only players in the game that could one-up each other, and that's a title they also had in NBA 2K9. It really also didn't help that they were both a part of super teams, at least in the game that year. If you were with the Lakers, then you also had to worry about Steve Nash, Pau Gasol, and Howard, so the amount of defensive attention you could give Kobe just wasn't that high. And your only chance of beating the Lakers if you weren't using the Heat was basically hoping that it was just somebody trying to spam Kobe the whole game. Then if you were the Heat, you of course had to worry about Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, you were on the lookout for Ray Allen. So how in the world were you supposed to have any defensive attention on LeBron James on his way to the paint? It didn't matter if you did. That goes for him and Kobe. If either one of them started the dunk animation, game over. So those were 10 players that were highly overpowered in the NBA 2Ks throughout the 2010s. It's just a list of 10, there are probably way more. These are the ones that I had the most experience with. I did not want to make a video about players that I really didn't have any first-hand experience or victim experience with. So if there are more, make sure to leave it in the comment section or tell me about it on Twitch. Come through and catch one of the live streams. I have been streaming a lot lately. Link in the comment section and description. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, comment, and sub. Also hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications the next time a video drops. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.